Hi, I'm Deb Dentledge, and I'm the Curator and Collections Manager here at the Phippen Museum, and I am with Bonnie Adams Freeman, and we're here at the opening of Portraits of the West. Hi, Bonnie.
Hi, Deb.
Did you have a good day today? We did a little walkthrough with our docents.
Oh, we did. Your docents are fabulous. Yes, we went through the entire exhibition, and I was explaining to everybody about this wonderful recreation of Ken's studio behind us. Deb, you came to my home and with the utmost of care took Ken's studio. You wrapped it up in saran wrap so
we
that
saran wrapped this studio.
So nothing would fall out of place.
Right.
Every paint tube, every paintbrush is just as it was in his studio. Thank you. You did a great
you
job.
Had photographs too. Bonnie had taken
Yes.
photographs of his studio, so that was really helpful when we reconstructed it here. And we really do feel that Ken's spirit is here today with us, kind of guiding our hands to make sure that Portraits of the West is a successful show for us. It's really exciting to have also Sergeant Major Bill back in the Phippen Museum. That's actually, we told the story to the docents today about how I met Bonnie. We actually were planning Buffalo Soldiers, Vaqueros, and Friends, and I had seen Ken's work online of Buffalo Soldiers, and I was so impressed by Sergeant Major Bill, I actually used it in a presentation to our board to sell the concept to them. Then I decided we have to have that painting in the show, and I ended up speaking to Ken Freeman himself, who had just come back from Milan and was so happy and thrilled about his show, one-man show there. Yes. Then another artist who was in Buffalo Soldiers, Vaqueros, and Friends, Joe Netherwood, who's also from the Scottsdale area, came in and we were talking about some custom pieces that he was doing. And I said, oh, I must reconnect with Ken Freeman to talk about Buffalo Soldiers. And he told me that unfortunately he had seen that Ken had passed away.
That's how you found out.
Yes, and so I hesitantly called Bonnie's house. I ended up talking to Bonnie. I said, Bonnie, this is your opportunity that if you need to withdraw from this show, I would understand and we would understand at the museum. But she said, oh no. What did you say to me? Oh.
No, Ken wanted very much to be a part of the show and to have Sergeant Major Bill here, and I had both the painting and the bronze, the bust available. So I did exactly what he would have wanted to be here.
Yes. Yes. And so that was how we came to know each other. And then when Bonnie told me she was doing the Legacy exhibition, I said, well, if we have a slot, we would certainly like to look at it for the Phippen. And sure enough, our board approved the concept. We actually have a piece here in the show that's owned by one of our board members, who's a collector, Jack Hellman. And that's in the back, in what I call the sweet spot. We have a very beautiful spot in the back that we can
really
showcase.
Nice the way you've displayed it, because there is a bronze of the same subject right there, and the copy photograph, the photograph that he took when he went to the reservation.
Yes, we took a little license with that because that came out of the studio, but I said, you know, James and I were talking about it. James is one of my colleagues here at the museum who helps set the lights and things, and we said, you know, at first I put it in the replica, and then we thought, no, you know what, it really needs to go back there with the
Well, it's nice because you can see how he worked.
Yeah.
You've got the photograph, which he used the same photograph to do the painting from, and he had a few more views of that same subject, and then he later did in the round, the sculpture, and to be able to see that wide range. Ken was a photographer and a painter and a sculptor.
And a guy who appreciated music too,
Oh,
which
yes,
brings us to
the
the
Beatles.
replica again. What's wonderful on the easel here is Impending Decision. It really demonstrates how he painted. He painted like the classical masters. He did. He actually drew on canvas, and we've got some of those canvases that he had started things on. He admired John Singer's Sargent, which is one of the great American painters, and he did an underpainting with the full value in brown tones first, and then he covered it with the oil to kind of bring the color forth, and
And
that
he
is
also
a
worked out
very-
the details too.
Yes.
If there was to be a change, it would be in that stage, in the undertone stage.
Right. And he had a beautiful capture of light, which is shown by the portraits of the rabbis here that are also in the replica. Almost Renaissance-like in his treatment of light in the portraiture. So it's really, really nice to see someone that paints in the classical way and appreciates that. But we have his book from John Singer Sargent from his studio. We also have a couple of pictures of Ken that we took from the studio where he is being his cowboy best. And there's Jesse Coulter, a photograph of Jesse Coulter. And why don't you tell them about what he did for Jesse Coulter?
Jessie is Waylon Jennings' wife, and Waylon had passed away. And in 2003, Jessie was releasing an album in commemoration of her husband with some of her new releases and some of his work. And so she asked Ken to paint Waylon's portrait. So she brought to Ken a black and white photograph, a little 8x10 photograph of Waylon's favorite picture of himself at an earlier age. And half of it was totally blown out. There was just no detail in it. And Ken painted from that photograph, and then he reviewed some family albums looking at Waylon's face, and she wanted him to wear a particular vest, which was in a photograph that was not at all anything like the photograph that he was painting from. So he put all this information together and painted this beautiful picture. And while he was painting it on several occasions, Jessie would come and stand right behind him while he was painting, and it just brought tears to her eyes to see Ken bringing her husband to life again.
Well, having gone to UT Austin, I heard Waylon and Willie many times at the Armadillo World Headquarters.
Well, you know
and
they
that's
used to
great.
hang out at Handlebar J
Oh, sure.
in Scottsdale,
Really?
and that is where Ken met all his ranchers and a lot of his Indians and his rodeo cowboys and the mountain men. Everybody Western in the 80s hung out at Handlebar J, and that is where Ken made a lot of affiliations for his models, which
yeah,
are
absolutely.
through this
All
whole
over.
exhibition. Yeah.
Yeah, there are portraits through this whole exhibition.
Well, Ken
it
was a
really
portrait
fits in
painter.
here. Of course.
It doesn't matter if he was painting a cow or a young child or an old lady or a rugged old man. He was a portrait painter.
He did, indeed. He did show care with all of his subjects. I mean, it's really, it's a great show. I hope people can get out to see it. It's going to be here through October 24th, and we're very happy to be the world premiere site of Portraits of the West, which is the second traveling exhibition of the Ken Freeman Legacy collection. So, Bonnie, thanks for being here today.
Well, you're welcome, and I'm very happy that you're hosting the world premiere for Portraits of the West.
Oh, I'm happy to. Okay.